I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus I was evil. I never shook baby.
Hello everyone, I have a special prop. I'm doing a carrot top thing.
Oh, can't wait. I actually don't know what he has here.
Ta-da!
Free press.
Yeah, it's this tote bag I got because I went to a talk last night that was co-hosted by the Free Press, which is Barry Weiss's publication. They're doing great work, independent journalism, and it was also co-sponsored by FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression.
Yes,
another great organization doing some.
They are
work.
great.
They're like what the ACLU used to be. Like
precisely. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I've looked into them. I'm not too far from Philly. I'm not leaving my job. I like my job a lot. But if there was like the one place I have considered looking to work,
yeah,
they have an office in Philly and an office in DC. But nope, I'm content.
Yeah.
And just if anyone I work with ever hears this, I'm very happy. I really do love my job. I love what I do.
Good.
But FIRE is great. They are exactly what you said. They're like what the ACLU used to be. They're nonpartisan. We're not paid to say any of this, by the way. But they're nonpartisan. They just kind of stick up for values, which is what organizations like that should do. They defend, right-wing professors and left-wing students and vice versa. And because they really stood, the E used to be education,
right? And
they expanded more, I think, because they saw that gap in because the ACLU just became a progressive activist organization and basically attack dogs for the Democratic Party. FIRE saw an opportunity to expand into just kind of like all facets of culture, which is great because we need them.
They're great.
I always Lukianov.
Greg Lukianov.
Lukianov. I always mess his name up. He kind of started. And do you know what's funny? The mighty Ira Glasser, who was one of my heroes, like one of the great lawyers of the ACLU. He literally litigated the Skokie Nazi case. He sits on the board of FIRE, so it kind of shows he's. I don't know if he's with the ACLU still, right? But I know that he sits on the board of FIRE and was like a big part in their creation. But anyway, enough about FIRE. The Free Press is Barry. Is it just her Substack, or is it like a other kind of publication?
I think it's just the Substack right now. But I do know that they have several offices. I like one in New York and one in LA.
Oh, they have offices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently so. They're starting to become more legit, and they have a podcast.
Nice. Cool. I love Barry Weiss's podcast, but I didn't know that the Free Press had one. She does legit. She's one of those ones that does legit journalism, deep dive. And they're not always political. A lot of times there are culture war stuff. Yeah, because that's what's really interesting. But I just listened to one recently. It's just about grief. This guy who wrote a book on grief, and he lost his children in this horrible car accident, and it was so touching and interesting, and it's that kind of shit that is I'm glad people do that. I'm glad that she does that. Her wife is also great too, Nellie.
I have a bit of a grudge against Nellie Bowles.
Why?
Because she used to be very woke and very establishment.
Yes.
She was writing for the New York Times. She wrote this hit piece on Jordan Peterson. She's the one that the whole enforced monogamy thing. Do you remember when that was a big controversy a few years back, in 2016, 2017?
Not really.
So she wrote this. She hung out with Jordan Peterson when he really blew up and he was doing tours around the world and everything. She hung out with him for several days, and the way from what I heard. So I actually talked to Dave Rubin about this. This is before he became like a right-wing dipshit, but back when he was more kind of middle of the road, and he was going on tours with Jordan Peterson, and the way it was, she approached it was like, hey, I think what you're doing is really interesting. Can I spend some time with you for a few days and get to know you? And so, according to them, they talked about a whole bunch of different things, but she focused. I think the name of the article was Jordan Peterson, Custodian of the Patriarchy, or something like that.
Oh.
And she highlighted this thing called enforced monogamy, and she just didn't Google what enforced monogamy is. So she interpreted it. He brought it up, and she thought enforced monogamy meant the government forces women to marry men so that way men aren't lonely. And so, of course, that sounds like a fucked up, like crazy manosphere type thing. That's not what enforced monogamy is. It actually comes from sociology or something like it's an actual concept. And what it means is culturally inculcated monogamy. So it's a culture that celebrates monogamy. And so the New York Times actually had written in the 90s, had written 2 articles talking about how enforced monogamy is actually good, actually produces good outcomes for women. When you have a culture where monogamy is celebrated, there's less, spousal abuse. There's less domestic violence against women. There's less rape because men are being taught, hey, find one woman to stay with for the rest of your life and treat her right. Yeah. But she misinterpreted it, and she made it seem like Jordan Peterson is saying we need that the government needs to force women to marry men, lonely men,
like Handmaid's Tale shit.
Exactly. Yeah. And so
actually, that's even further than enforced monogamy, because then there the men get multiple wives. But
exactly, yes. So I like her now, but there's always been this kind of thing where it's like, it was just like 5 years ago. You wrote this ridiculously stupid article.
Well, has she addressed it?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, that's fucked up. It's one thing to have your take. Trust me, I have stuff out there that I could go delete, but I don't. It's it's good to see progressions. I started writing, blogging, whatever you want to call it, at the Trump rise. Yeah. And I was a shit lib, and I wasn't. I guess I was pretty critty and wrote some pretty cringe things. Yeah. That I wouldn't write today, obviously. Right. Some I stand by. Some might take my similar sentiment in terms of gun control stuff, but I would write it differently. But anyway, if you address it, or especially if that's an attack of someone, mine, besides Donald Trump, mine's were an attacks of real other people. Right. But especially because it sounded like she was almost undercover. Is that the sense I'm getting? You tell me. It sounded like she was kind of undercover. I'm assuming that she disclosed she wrote for the New York Times, right? Or just want to be one of this. Okay.
So what Dave Rubin told me was when I asked him about it, and he goes, he's like, dude, I told Jordan, I was like, dude, don't, she writes for the New York Times, they write stupid crap now, no, I would not go for it. And then Jordan was like, no, I don't know, she seems nice, she seems to be coming at this with good faith. Yeah. And then he goes, and then when that article came out, I was like, see, I told you. So
when did you talk to Dave Rubin?
This was in 2016, 2017, maybe. He was doing a show at the San Jose Improv. So I went to go see him. This is when I used to like him, when he was more kind of old school lefty, and now he's just kind of obnoxious right wing troll. Oh, looks like we lost you. Hello. Okay. So
sorry, my Wi-Fi is being a fickle bitch. We'll see if we finish this episode tonight or not.
You were strong Los Angeles internet.
My internet is usually pretty good. I don't know what's going on. It's been all day. It's really fucking annoying. My internet is usually very good, so I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway, Nelly Bowles. Basically, you should address whatever, if especially, I'm assuming she's probably changed her opinion, especially on things like hit pieces, considering what's happened to at least her wife. I don't know about her, I don't know her relationship as much with the New York Times or any sort of kind of mainstream media outlet, but they were really shitty to Barry. So anyway, let's get into, I'm very jealous that you got to go yesterday to the panel or talk or whatever it was. I'm a huge Red Scare fan. So Anna Khachiyan was one of the 4 speakers. Yes. What's funny is that I want to say one more thing. I saw a picture of Tim Dillon and the speakers, and I don't know what Grimes looks like, but right away I was like, that's Grimes.
Yes.
I knew exactly who she was.
Yeah. So I'll get into Tim Dillon was a guest special guest host guy. Like he showed up, just did like 15 minutes of comedy, which is great. He was fucking hilarious. Yeah. He came out and then he's like, yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about the sexual revolution, which is one of the biggest problems facing Los Angeles right now. And it's like, because we don't have 100,000 homeless people, or I'm sorry, unhoused, because that sounds nicer, right? It's like, let's just give them a house, get them on Zillow, and then they're fine, right?
Yeah.
So he did a great job of kind of, it's funny, like he's kind of made fun of everybody. He made fun of Barry Weiss and everybody, but it was all good.
He's so goddamn funny. I love him.
Yeah, he's great.
So funny.
Yeah. He's just ripping on everybody. It was great. Yeah.
I commented on the pic of him with the women, like Hugh Hefner if he was gay and like brunettes. that's like one of my, I just like shit posts. Yeah, it's just like first thought that came to my head. I'm gonna tweet it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. And then Barry Weiss came out and she talked about, and she introduced the topic, which was has the sexual revolution failed? And so I guess it's called like Oxford style debate, where it's like you poll the members of the audience and you ask them what, whether they agree or disagree with it. And then at the end you poll them again, and then you see which side managed to persuade the most people.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like the monk debates that they have in Canada.
I don't bring up Canada.
Okay, I know.
They're fine. They're not Australia, but come on.
I know. But it was interesting. So the question was, has the sexual revolution failed? And then so on the side that said yes, it did fail, it was Louise Perry. She is, I've only seen her recently. She's been started making, I guess she released a book talking about the case. The book is called The Case Against the Sexual Revolution. So she's more of a conservative type. Yeah. She's been showing up on podcasts lately.
Yeah, I think I've listened to her.
Anna Kachian, yeah. And then so they were both on the side that the sexual revolution failed. On the side that believed that it didn't fail was Grimes and Sarah Hayter. And so when they polled the audience, did the sexual revolution fail? It was interesting. It was 51% said it did fail, and 49% said it did not fail.
That surprises me.
I know it was completely split.
Well, that was the first vote.
That was the first vote. So before the debate actually started, that was after Barry Weiss gave her introduction. Right. And so both sides. So I thought this doesn't necessarily reflect my own views. So I gave a reluctant no, it did not fail. Because Barry Weiss made some good points. She goes, it did pave the way for gay rights, and it did allow women to enter the workforce and blah blah blah. So there's and destigmatize sex and sexual pleasure and things like that. So a lot of stuff I thought was fine, but there are also a lot of things that when you, for example, when you look at surveys these days, women on average are much more depressed, are much more unhappy, despite having much more freedom and more choices. So it's kind of. It was kind of it's Thomas Sowell once said that there's no such thing as a solution, there are only trade-offs. And I think that's a good way to describe it.
Good saying, yeah.
And so what was interesting though is I thought that Louise Perry and Anna Kachian, they did a better job of articulating the case against the sexual revolution. That doesn't necessarily mean that I thought that they were inherently right on everything. I just thought that they did a better job.
Wait, who's the other side?
The other side was Grimes and Sarah Hayter.
Sarah Hayter, right? And she has like a Muslim background, right?
Yeah. So she's
her, like where she's coming from. Yeah. So did they define what is the sexual revolution? Like
specifically
60s?
Yeah, late 60s, early 70s. So that was like right after the birth control pill came out. And so women were able to, have more control over their bodies. And, so it's like, they were able to, society as a whole was able to kind of decouple sex from reproduction, and it could just be, a pleasure thing. Right.
Sure.
But of course, there are always, unintended consequences when you have this drastic social shift. But they made an interesting case that I thought they might have that they should have done a better job of kind of is the sexual revolution still going on with trans stuff? What the hell was that?
Oh, you heard that?
Yeah,
that's a car. That's a car. Yeah, they're a bunch of I don't know if it's them, but they're a bunch of young I live in I'd say upper middle class area. So there are kids with like nice cars, like high school kids with like Mustangs and stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes they like zoom around. No, it's like man yells like, it's not man yells at cloud. It's like, let's slow down. Like, there are children around here. But yeah, at least what I look at it as, at least I scared the shit out of my cat. I'm sorry, buddy. At least, like I see them out there like washing their cars and stuff and like checking them out, like, oh dude, look at my cars. Oh, look at my car. Like to me, at least it's better than looking at a screen all day and like shit posted on Twitter like I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if it's one of them. I live on it's not a big street. It's just like one lane, one way, one lane the other, but it's like a thoroughfare. Like it's a busy street. Right. So sometimes like I don't know how, like sometimes a big truck will come by and it'll like shake my fucking house. I'll be like, God damn it. But anyway, yeah, that's what it was.
But yeah, getting back to the sexual revolution thing, like, you know, it was mostly defined as like being like this late 60s, early 70s thing, and sort of an extension of like, you know, hippie free love and all that stuff, and kind of like a reaction to the cynicism of, you know, the time, the turbulent time in American politics at the time. Yeah, so I love Sarah Hayter. I think she's done a great job of kind of like articulating, you know, the problems with you know, radical Islamism, and how anti-liberal.
No.
Yeah. And being a staunch defender of free speech and
yeah, I like her.
And all that. Yeah, she's great. I did not think that she was that well prepared for this debate. So that was a bit of a disappointment for me. She definitely had some good points, but I thought she kind of floundered around a little bit. And Grimes was fucking embarrassing. Oh really? My God, she was fucking terrible.
Dude, can I be honest? I didn't get why was she there? Like,
I don't know.
And I'm glad. I'm funny. I was gonna ask you that, and it's very funny because when I saw Grimes on the marquee, I was like, "Oh, is Grimes like an intellect? Like, does she?" Is she like knowledgeable about this stuff? Does she write about it? Does she tweet? Oh, maybe I'm missing something. Apparently, my instinct was right. It's like, nope, should have been there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, because I know she's like this weird singer chick, and she's into like NFTs and AI crap and whatever. But like, okay, but maybe she's got like an intellectual side. But yeah, when I thought I actually felt really bad for Sarah Hayter. It's like, because Sarah wasn't that great, and then it was just having that as her partner. Dude, she sounded like, so she's like really spastic. She comes off as like this awkward, you know, anxious teenager, and then she was just like using big yet common words. So she's like, yeah, you know, everything is just like fundamentally fucked. It's just fucked. Okay. It's just like the government has just done like a really bad job of like helping women. Okay. So that's just fucked up. Okay. And it's like, she just talked like that the entire time. And then, you know, most of the other speakers, they had prepared notes and they would kind of use it as reference. And she's like, yeah, guys, I'm like really bad at reading. So, okay, hold on. Wait, where am I?
Reading?
I'm bad at reading. I have like this problem. Okay. So it's just like, okay. So yeah, the government is just.
Why do you think she was there?
I don't know.
Do you think she might have bankrolled some of it? Because isn't she like super rich because of Elon?
Probably.
I mean, they were married, right?
Yeah, they were married, or at least they were in a relationship. I don't know if they were actually married, but
well, they at least have a child together, if not more than one. So she's getting some sort of flow from the richest man in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I was surprised when I saw her on there, and
I thought, she was pretty bad. I mean, like, and so here's what was really surprising to me. So remember when I said 51% said that they thought that the sexual revolution failed, whereas 49% said that they thought it didn't fail. At the end, it flipped exactly that. It was 49 were so after the debate, 49 said that they thought that the sexual revolution failed, and 51% thought it didn't fail. It's like the side with Grimes won by two points. Like,
so I think I would say I haven't heard any of this debate. I don't know if it was
come out. It
will come out, and I'll definitely listen to it.
Yeah,
I would be on the side of it. It hasn't failed. I think, and you saying the Thomas Sowell line is accurate. Like, look at where we were, like, as a species before it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean a lot of it isn't cringe and has bad trade-offs.
Right.
But the way people were stigmatized and punished, like literally, like there were sodomy laws.
Yeah.
But you know, women, especially women, were persecuted and prosecuted for different sorts of like ridiculous crimes. they had to stay in abusive relationships because of the stigma, where men really could like run free and spread their seed a lot more.
Yeah.
So I think that Anna and Perry, Louise Perry, they had a harder argument to make.
Yeah.
Like the case, it wasn't like an even split to begin with, even though the vote on their side, I think the vote was more on their side because that's not representative of society. That's representative of the type of crowd that goes to a talk like that.
Anna Kachin had got the most applause, just regardless. So I think
she's the fucking best. Like she's her and Dasha are hilarious. They're very insightful. They're very funny.
Yeah.
I actually found them because she was a guest on, I think, Tim Dillon's podcast.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, she's really funny and like interesting, and she's from New Jersey. Hell yeah.
Whatever. That counts as a demerit.
That's demerit. All right. Well, she, in spite of being from New Jersey, she's great. Anyway, I forgot I was wrong with that. But I think they had the harder argue. So just kind of Barry maybe even putting some I don't know, giving some context basically to the whole debate. People were like, oh, that's a good point. Where like I think the vast majority of people, even though there is a little bit of a backlash now, there's a whole trad movement, there's all this stuff. I think it's still on the margins. I don't think people really want to go back to pre-sexual revolution. Right. Doesn't mean there aren't abundant issues, but I don't. I think it'd be very difficult to argue that it has failed. Maybe I'll be swayed, right? So here's what I'm going to do right now, just from what you're telling me and my gut instinct. I'm going to say I'm on the side that it has not failed. Right. Let's see if Anna and Louise change my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come out. I definitely recommend checking it out, and maybe if it comes out relatively soon, maybe we can do like a little bit of follow up on it. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
100%. I kind of. Why wouldn't it come out soon?
I'm not sure because this has happened before, where it's like, oh, like this thing will come out for like another 3 months sort of thing. So,
that's so weird.
I know it's. I don't know if it's like a sponsorship thing, like or maybe.
Why was you said you saw Katie Herzog and Jesse Singal?
I actually saw a few prominent intellectuals, like interesting, like heterodox people there. So they were there.
I'm a big fan of their podcast too.
Yeah, Blocked and Reported. They're great. They're great. And I saw Coleman Hughes.
Oh, I love Coleman. Also from New Jersey. No big deal.
Yeah. Well, again,
we're actually from like the same area, like same county.
That's even.
We're basically brothers.
Clearly,
we're best friends.
So Sarah Hayter has a podcast. I think it's called Special Place in Hell with Ann Applebaum or something like that.
I don't know. I'm kind of saturated on podcasts.
I know there's so like every prominent intellectual has like 3 podcasts now.
That being said, you should sign up for our Patreon for as little as $3. You can support Ben and Joe making podcasts that you need to listen to in your rotation.
Are you tired of listening to intellectuals, and would you rather listen to non-intellectuals talk about intellectuals?
No, we got the podcast for you. It's this one that you're listening to. Also, like and subscribe, please. That doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could get merch and books and just love us for as little as $3 a month.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is there anything else?
No, we'll put the link in the description. So
I usually wait till the last 10 seconds of the episode to say that, or just forget entirely.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a good segue though. But Louise Perry did make an interesting point, and she did point out the difficulty of being a more conservative person on this issue, where she's like, in these debates we always get stuck with the counter argument of, so what, you want to go back to the 1950s? And she goes, well, I'm not saying,
which is what I just said.
Yeah.
Missionary only.
Man, woman, married, both of the same religion, but and she goes, I'm not necessarily arguing in favor of that. And she said that she's slightly pro-choice. Like she's from the UK, so they have moderate abortion laws there. So like she's like open to some form of abortion.
Wait, what do you mean moderate abortion laws?
I think at least in the UK, I think it's like abortion up to 3, like the first trimester, and then.
Oh, I think it's more than that. No, I don't know. I've looked it up before, because usually the arguments I always make against, I'm very, I think like. It's one of my most like centrist opinions is abortion. I'm like, up to like, I guess, viability.
Yeah.
First few, like 6 weeks is way too soon. People don't even know. I have some pretty conservative people, by the way, who are like, what the fuck, like 6 weeks? What are you talking about? You don't even know you're pregnant.
Yeah.
But I'm also against the ones where it's like in New Jersey, oh, you don't like how the baby looks, you can kill it when it comes
exactly.
out. Like that's that's an exaggeration, but kind of not really. But so I always use like when France, and I love France, like I'm a Francophile, when France was like tweeting about the Dobbs decision, and it's like Mississippi, our most conservative state, arguably, had a law that was 15 weeks. And that's our most conservative.
Yeah.
France is like 12 to 14.
Right.
So it's like, what do you like Denmark, like these countries that most of the time, especially people on the left point to for medical, especially like medical and health like goals. Yeah. It's like they're actually way more conservative on these. That being said, I don't think the UK is. I think the UK is more than that. All of that being said, we're like the most liberal.
Yeah.
Until very recently. And even still, a handful of states are like the most like in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because on many social issues, we're fairly conservative.
Right.
So
but anyways, so she was at least trying to take a moderate position. And here's the thing, both sides conceded some, like there was definitely some overlap. Like those who said that the sexual revolution failed overall, they didn't say that it failed in every respect. They did acknowledge the wins for women that it did produce. And those who said that it succeeded did point out that it has kind of wrecked relationships, modern dating in many ways, and has produced a lot of unhappiness.
You're all allowed to be up here unaccompanied by men.
Exactly.
You can all get credit cards now.
Yeah.
Some women, it's probably not a good thing.
Well, Hader brought up an interesting point that I didn't know about. I think it was only up until like the 1960s, where it was like, it had to do with like marital rape, whereas like if a woman was raped by her husband, it was still really difficult for her to get a divorce, or for her to be able to like file a lawsuit against, or prosecute her husband.
I'm not as sure about that. I mean, yes. In the U.S., does she mean?
Yeah, in the U.S.
In the U.S.
50s or 60s when.
Yeah, I mean, there was a very common that you couldn't get raped by your husband. That was like very common. Yeah. I thought you were going to say in like the 70s. I don't know about the U.S., but in the UK in the 70s, like women needed a cosigner for a credit card.
Oh shit!
In the fucking 70s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm gonna look into I'm 99% sure of that, but yeah,
that's wild. So
women be shopping.
But overall, it was a very fun debate. It was very lively, and it was also just cool, just like being able to go to something like this in LA.
Yes, that is cool. Yeah, that is cool. Where was it?
Oh, it was at, I'll send you some pics in the video. It was at the Ace. It was the Ace Theater, which was originally the United Artists Theater.
Where is that?
It's in downtown LA. So United Artists was like one of the original film studios in the 30s and 40s.
Interesting.
So it's really cool. It's got like this very old school like Art Deco style to it. I'm a for Art Deco. Yeah. But so yeah, that was cool. It was a very fun, cool experience. So yeah, I recommend.
I'm definitely gonna listen to it. I just don't know where it's gonna be published.
I'll be on the lookout for it.
Will we see you? That lovely head of hair. Like, oh, there's Joe.
Actually, I got an upper balcony thing, but like I was right up against the rail though, so I actually got really good seats, like looking directly down on the thing. So
just looking at all of their cleavage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I should give a shout out to the person, Jake Mackey, who teaches at Occidental College.
Has been a guest on the show.
Yeah. And so he's the one who set me up with that ticket. So thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.
We have not met because I wasn't on that episode.
Right.
But we have to have him back on.
Yeah, definitely. So I definitely recommend going to debates.
Can I say from now on that instead of from California, you're from the Occident, and I'm from the Orient. I'm Oriental, you're Occidental.
Yeah, if it means that you're willing to acknowledge that you know me, and it's like, yeah, I have a friend from the Occident. Yeah,
the Occident,
that's fine.
Occident was from fucking Nevada. Did Obama go there for like a semester?
I believe so. Yes, I think so.
Yeah. where he
I should point out
blood of children.
And this is Jake Mackey talked about this on the do you follow Free Black Thought?
Yes.
They're terrific. So Jake Mackey is one of the co-founders of that organization. So they recently,
white, right?
Yeah.
Just checking.
No, well, he's
politically black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean like the group who founded, like, they're actually pretty ethnically diverse. So there's some are black, some are, I think, Hispanic and white, and so it's pretty diverse. But they recently launched a podcast, which I highly recommend checking out.
Nice.
But Jake was on it, and he was talking about how, like, the sort of wokeification of Occidental College, and he goes, "Yeah, like, we were one of the first colleges to have, like, to become co-ed. Like, we were one of the, like, you know, so it's like we've always been a pretty progressive school, but for whatever reason, in recent years, like, people have been pointing out, like, oh, like, we're a white supremacist patriarchal institution. It's like, how? We've always been kind of
Occidental, a private school in Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would think it's super liberal. Like, I couldn't imagine that there's any sort of even like centrist bent school in LA.
Yeah.
Right? So, am I missing any? Like,
I don't, unless there's like some, like, you know, private Jesuit university, which even then
those can be Georgetown's private Jesuit university. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. What we're talking about?
Yeah.
What school am I thinking of? What's in Malibu?
I just passed by there. Pepperdine.
Yeah. Gotcha. Man, to go to college in Malibu, holy shit.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I have Malibu High
right across the street from the beach too. Like, it's
yeah. Well, I
think we passed it when you were we probably passed by it.
I have Malibu High on my watch list. I'm gonna watch that eventually.
No,
I think Tarantino talks about it in his book. I think he like touches on it. He doesn't do like a chapter on it, but
yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Yeah, man.
What else are we talking about?
Well, speaking of Tarantino.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mean to do that.
Yeah,
this is just something I saw was cool. Paul Walter Hauser is set to be the lead in Tarantino's next and final, hopefully not, but final movie.
Well, that has not been finalized from what I understand. Like, it's still kind of a rumor about Paul Walter Hauser getting offered the role. Apparently, it's
really?
Yeah. Oh. Character actor is said to have been given the opportunity to star in Tarantino's last film until the strikes delayed filming. So I don't know if, like, the strikes kind of, you know, threw
right. Okay. So barring the strike,
yeah,
you know, maybe. Okay. Well, we're gonna report it like it is, because then we do nothing else to talk about. That's so. I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of. I like Jewel or Richard Jewell. Right.
Yeah. How was that movie? That's a Clint Eastwood one, right?
I really liked it. I was also at a very, I still am, but at that time when I saw it, I was like, fuck the media. Like, it was very much Clint Eastwood doing like a screw the media movie. And that was such a good example of the media, like, ruining someone's life to the point where what people don't always understand, and what I try and get through in a lot of my criticisms of the media, is like, it doesn't matter if at the end the person is found not guilty, or even no charges are brought, or whatever it is. Yeah. Oftentimes their lives are still ruined.
Yeah.
Like at the end of that movie, I'm going to spoil this because this happened. This is like a real guy. Like, you know, he didn't go to prison. You know, he wasn't the bomber. We know who the bomber was. It was a right-wing abortion activist, actually, anti-abortion activist, actually. Yeah. So at the end, John Hamm's character, who's an FBI agent, which is like half of his roles, is like, I still think you did it, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, even though there's absolutely no evidence against you, I still think you did it. It's like, could you imagine living your life thinking that at least one person at the FBI thinks that you're a bomber?
Yeah,
like, insane. And then that was even pre-social media, where if you look at it, we were just talking about Barry Weiss, how great her podcasts are.
Yeah.
We were recording when we talked about that, right? Her other ones, the journalism, like, she did a great one on the birder versus dog part, like the girl who got accused of being a racist right around like the George Floyd shit. Yeah. When the birder, which sucks because I like birds. I don't consider myself a birder, but I do love birds. Mm-hmm. And he was like, of course, he started recording after all the shit he had said and done, and he like completely changed, and she was freaked out, and it was a whole like, don't call the police no matter what, even if you're in danger, you're being a Karen or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And her life, she had to like flee. She got fired from her job and like publicly censured, and she was in like Europe in hiding basically. I think she successfully sued. I don't know. I'm sure she got a fat payout or whatever, but like she was completely in the right in that. Like she did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just the whole idea, especially at that time, of like a black man accusing you of something while recording you, like she kind of broke down. And the media ran with it and made her out to be like a typical, like maybe superficial progressive type person, but it's really just a racist like all us white people. And that was so fucking sick. And it's that kind of shit that like the media, like, no, she didn't face any, she was fired, which is horrible. Like that ruins people's lives on its own, but like she didn't face any charges. She's not guilty of anything. And the media still ruined her life. Yeah. Or I mean, I'm sure she's going to have, she talked about her mental health and all of that. Like, even if she's but like nothing's come out about her really, not any mainstream publications or anything that even went viral on like heterodox spaces. That kind of was like a mea culpa, which really righted the, except for Barry Weiss's podcast, but and as great as she is and as much of a reach as she has, it's still, you know, she's still an ex-New York Times columnist with a growing but still fairly small you know, media footprint. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, so he's in that, and that's a great movie.
I have not seen a whole lot of his work, but
do you see Black Klansman?
Yeah, I did see that one.
He's that one. I think he's like the guy who gets like real radical.
I watched the movie in theaters when it came out, so I
I think he's the guy who like goes through with the bombing or whatever. Like really.
So he was the bomber then, huh?
Yeah, it's actually funny. Yes, he was in that one. He was the bomber, I believe. I only saw it once. I can't remember exactly. He's in another Spike Lee movie. He's in a small role in Da 5 Bloods, which I think is a very underrated movie. Like I thought the movie was sweet. I think it was better than Black Klansman. Black Klansman was very cool. It's a great story. I think Da 5 Bloods is a better movie. What else is he in? I can't think off the top of my head, but he's always like, it's cool to see someone get their first, assuming he gets it, their like first lead, because he's very talented and he's very humble. Like I've heard him on movie podcasts where he's like, look, I'm just like happy to work. Like he's not, if you don't know who we're talking about, he's a big guy.
He's a portly fellow.
You know, he's not Tom Holland or Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. I'm just gonna name the Spider-Man. Like he's
not Michael Keaton. He's not Ben Affleck. He's not George Clooney.
He's a larger man, and I think that's great. And I don't want to sound, I'm like not trying to be offensive when I say this. I mean this. Like that's why I love actors like this. They're so talented, and again, I'm not saying this to be offensive or mean. Like it's why I love Kathy Bates. Like Kathy Bates is an incredible actress. But it's not because of her looks. And like I assume she would know that. Like I think she's honestly one of the. I was gonna write something like she's the best actress in Hollywood. I think she's fantastic. But
the Water Boy, and just
but she's not gonna play Wonder Woman. Like she's not gonna play Wonder Woman. Dude, she's so much more than the Water Boy. She's great. Like come on, she's incredible.
Yeah, but she played Bobby Boucher's mom. Like that's pretty difficult. She was great in that. That was pretty a meaty role, I think. I thought
she was a Cajun lady, and the foosball.
Like Misery, and there's About Schmidt. Yeah, she's been in a bunch of great movies.
She's fantastic.
She is.
I like her a lot. In I think it's gotten more. Midnight in Paris. I love that movie. I always call it a guilty pleasure movie, but I think people just like it. It's like there's a handful of topics that would be like, oh, we wrote this for Ben D'Alessio, and that's one of them. It's a guy going back to 1920s Paris, just like meeting famous people, Ernest Hemingway, Cole Porter, Dali, Salvador Dali. I'm kind of just blanking on the names here, but it's like that era, not swinging, but it was like 1920s Paris.
That's sort of Bohemian.
Bohemian. It's not Belle Epoque. They actually also go to the Belle Epoque in that movie, which is like 30 years before, because I won't, whatever. But Picasso, of course, and Kathy Bates is in it. She plays Stein. What was her first name?
Gertrude
Stein. Yeah, she's great.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, she's fantastic. Paul Terhauser, I'm very excited. I'm excited for any. I mean, Tarantino's one of the few directors that like you're just going to see his movies, right? Like it doesn't matter. He could make a movie about any topic. I'm going to see it.
Like a PG-rated romantic comedy, and I'll still go see it.
I'd still go see it. Even if it's probably just like written by Tarantino. Like if you see the script, I'd probably just go see anything. Yeah. There aren't that many directors that I'm like that. Like Nolan, Fincher. I know you. It would be who's your boy? Who do you love? The guy who does the weather.
Oh, David Lynch. Yeah, David Lynch. Yeah, does the weather.
I'd probably see anything Cronenberg. I haven't. Not that I've done that, but like, new Cronenberg. Like we just did that with Crimes of the Future. Yeah. But we're also more like movie people. I mean, just like the more.
The sort of auteur type directors where they have a distinctive style where it's like, no matter what they do, even if it's not great, it's still interesting. It's still going to be above average than typical Hollywood movie. So yes, for the most part. I also love the fact that like, it seems like, even when you have a lesser known actor doing a Tarantino movie, like it often produces really good results. I mean, like, what's Christoph Waltz in, when he did Inglourious Bastards, where it's like, he was a nobody in the US. And then he was like, holy shit, he knocked it out of the park in that.
It's like one of my favorite performances ever.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. Or he'll help revive, I shouldn't say it like a failed or washed up actor, but like what he did with like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, where it's like so it's like if Tarantino thinks you got something, it's like this is going to be an interesting role. So I hope this guy kills it.
Yeah, I thought when we were talking about this before, because this is about a critic, right? Like a movie critic. I thought it was supposed to be a woman.
So I think that was just speculation on the part of the media because Tarantino's always been a big fan of Pauline Kael, who was like a sort of she was I guess she was kind of like the heterodox movie critic of the times, where she was always willing to kind of take a contrarian view.
She's like an Armand White of, of what, the 70s or
and she was often very controversial, but she was a great writer though. I've read a little bit of her stuff and almost I haven't read all of her reviews. Like almost every review of hers that I've seen of a movie that I liked, she almost always did not like it.
Sucks.
I know
it sucks.
But she was always like she was a terrific writer though, just like in terms of like her prose style and just like being very incisive. So she was whip smart for sure.
I like to just go back and read just like old reviews sometimes, especially what's his name, Ebert.
Roger Ebert's such a great writer, dude. Oh my,
amazing. Yeah, and I didn't agree with him all the time. Like he had some strange takes on some movies, but he was great. Like what Perry is your last name?
Pauline Kael. Oh, Louise Perry. Are you talking about
No. I'm thinking of the critic. I got them confused.
Oh, okay.
Pauline Kael.
So I think it's Kael. I think.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll look up some of her writing.
Yeah, this
guy's he writes in like a porn mag, right, or something like that.
Yeah, which seems to draw from Tarantino's own life a little bit, because Tarantino for a brief time when he was a teenager, he got a job, I think, like passing out flyers for like a porno theater or something. That was like he said that was like his first like film related job.
Do they have any of those in LA?
Porn theaters?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
If they're going to be anywhere, they'd be in LA or New York, I think, or San Francisco. But
there was one strip club on Hollywood Boulevard, which we might have passed. I might have pointed out to you when we passed by when we were walking. And it's called Deja Vu. And like the tagline says, "Thousands of pretty girls and 3 ugly ones."
What? Oh my god, I can't believe they have that. No, I'm serious. Like in today's time, they still have that.
Yeah, I just saw it like a few weeks ago. I was walking with my family. I was like, "Hey, check out that sign. Is it pretty cool?"
That's on Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset Boulevard?
It's on Hollywood Boulevard.
Hollywood Boulevard. Oh my god, I can't imagine the cretins that slither into there.
Yeah,
like. Oh my god,
I don't even know what to make of that. It's just hilarious.
I love that. That's so funny.
Real quick, that kind of reminds me of like that sort of brutal honesty. There's a band called Dream Theater, and they only had one hit song in the early 90s called "Drag Me Under," I think, or "Pull Me Under," and so they released a best of. Huh?
I'm sorry. It sounds familiar, like that band. I can't.
Yeah, they're pretty good, but they've never really been huge. Like they've always kind of been like number 180 in the top 200, Billboard chart sort of thing, right? Like they've always kind of been popular enough to get like a good steady crop, but they've never really had many hits. So they released a best of album, and it was called Greatest Hit and 12 other really good songs.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're talking about Tarantino.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. I saw cool news. Like we like to just bring up anything Tarantino related. I really hope it's not his last movie. Yeah. What we talked about this before. What he just because he just wanted to make 10.
Yeah, I actually kind of like it. Like I'm sure he could do at least another 5-10 great movies that'll be just as good as anything he's ever done. But I like the idea.
I don't like it at all.
I kind of like it though, because I mean, like so many times, like for example, like a great TV show where it's like, oh, the first 5 seasons were great, but then season 6 was okay, and then 7.
Yeah, I say that, but that's different because they're all like different movies. Like, I don't know. I don't like it because look at the record speaks for itself. Like, what are his bad movies?
Was that Grindhouse one that he did?
No, Death Proof is not bad. I think Death Proof.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say. But,
I reviewed it like 2 years ago, and I think it's very underrated.
I've been seeing a lot more sort of retrospective, like positive reviews. I think maybe when it came out, people were expecting something more, and they
probably
didn't get that.
It's not. I don't think it's in its top even
10.
Yeah, no, like it might. I haven't seen Jackie Brown in so long, so I can't remember. I don't know if I've reviewed it. I don't think so. It honestly might be his worst movie, but I gave it like an 81. I think if that's your worst movie.
Yeah,
it's like there are a lot of directors who make stinkers. Yeah. Like he doesn't have any stinkers. Like actually, I would probably put Death Proof. I don't think I rated it higher, but like if you were like right now, you have to watch Death Proof or Hateful Eight. I'd probably watch Death Proof.
Okay, interesting.
Hateful Eight, I think it's good. I don't think he should have gone Django to Hateful Eight. Like it seemed too similar. Like yes, Django was like kind of right before the Civil War. Hateful Eight was like after the Civil War. But and I didn't love the kind of like single location type thing.
Yeah.
But I know he likes that a lot, kind of like that Agatha Christie shit.
Yeah.
But I would have just liked him to go do something totally different.
Yeah. I think I loved it because I was because I didn't see it until years after it came out. So and it got a more lukewarm response. So I was expecting something bad, and or at least not as good, but I actually really dug it. It reminded me a lot of The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, of just sort of like an isolated location. Sure. And so I actually thought that was pretty. I liked it quite a bit, and then I watched it again with like the behind the scenes commentary with people who worked on it. So I think I got even more appreciation for it. I will say though, I was surprised because during that commentary when they were talking about what it's like working with Tarantino, the guys who worked on the film, they said like most big Hollywood directors, they're of course they're pretty arrogant, so they're sort of like if if you're like a stagehand or a grip or like pretty low on the totem pole in terms of like priority jobs on the film shoot, it's almost impossible for you to just go up to the director and just like chat with him. But Tarantino was always just like whenever they would break for lunch, he would just sit and it's like anybody could just go up to him, like even if you were a no name like production assistant who's just there to move boxes or whatever. It's like you just go up to him and then like, hey, so what's your favorite movie? What's a good movie that you've seen lately? And then he'll tell you like So apparently he's very approachable on the set.
He does seem very approachable and just like especially if you just want to talk about like Rolling Thunder or something.
Like, go up to me, say like, hey, in the 1970s, my dad took me to see Dirty Harry, and be like, oh my god, let me tell you a story about Dirty Harry when I first saw him. It's like he'll just like if you talk to him about movies, like that's like your entry point. It's like he'll just talk forever about like no matter even if you're a complete nobody.
What do you think about this? I was just thinking, do you know what I'd love to see him make? I'd love to see him make a sci-fi movie.
You mean like a Star Trek movie that he almost made?
No. God, no. Anything but Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could,
just something original. That's what I mean. Like, not a current IP, just like make something cool. I don't know if it would be like, that's one of those things where maybe that would be like oh shit, is he losing it? Like maybe he shouldn't, or it could be like, this is amazing. Like this is in the canon of sci-fi now.
Yeah.
or maybe like a book that hasn't been made really well. Like Dune, they just did a Tarantino Dune would be wild.
Yeah. Tarantino almost made a Marvel Comics movie in the 90s. It was Luke Cage.
That probably would have been cool.
Well, here's because the Luke Cage character came out, to capitalize on like the blaxploitation craze in the 70s. So Tarantino that was for him. He was like, oh, like I always loved the comics since when I was a kid, and like I thought it would be cool to do like in the 70s, gritty crime, superhero movie. So I was like, okay, like that would be like the one superhero movie that I could see Tarantino doing, just because he has such a fondness for gritty 70s, blaxploitation cinema. He wanted to make a Star Trek movie.
Maybe it would get me to like Star Trek. I think when I first met my now fiance, then girlfriend, she was like, Star Wars is dorky. I'm like, Star Wars is not dorky. Star Trek is dorky. She's like, okay, fine, I'll give it.
I'm glad you put her in her place.
Yeah, I still bring it up to her. I'm like, you think Star Wars is dorky? She's like, I don't.
That's the sort of patriarchal behavior that I love about you, Ben.
Yes. Sometimes you gotta tell her, hey, sometimes I gotta lay down the law.
I know, just put your foot down.
Star Wars is not dirty. In this house. In this house.
Love is love. We believe in science, and Star Wars is much better than Star Trek.
Not dorky.
It's not dorky. Tarantino also wanted to make a James Bond movie. He wanted to do it like in black and white and make it set in the 50s or 60s, I think. It could have been interesting.
I don't know, man. I would just love him to do like think about Kill Bill. Like I think I like the Kill Bill movies more than most. I love the Japanese influence. Like it's kind of like, oh, it's white people, but Japanese shit. Like that's for me. Like that's I love that kind of shit. Like, oh, blonde with a katana. Fuck yeah. But like who would have thought of that?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe other people, but or Inglourious Bastards, like, yeah, it's not completely fresh because it's about Nazis and stuff, but it was unique. It included cinema. It included the hunter, like the Jewish hunter, or it had like the Jewish American soldiers, and it had this Hans Lanza character. Like that was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't want him to go just like do the Tarantino version of Star Trek of superhero. Yeah. I'd love him to do something original, or maybe like a book that he loves that, you know how he loves kind of not like super popular things all the time that like I haven't even heard of, or that's in the sci-fi, or like Neuromancer or something. If he did a Neuromancer, he did Foundation. It's not enough action in Foundation. I don't know. I can't think exactly right now. Maybe a Philip K. Dick movie that's not Blade Runner,
or like an Avengers, comic book story, but that people didn't know about though, like that kind of forgotten Avengers. Now I hear you, man. Where it's something where it's like, something that's so close and dear to him, even if it was based on an existing thing, but if it's like for him, it's like like it was a source of inspiration for his film work, and so like now it's him. Like taking a stab at it, that would be cool. But getting back to the thing of like an an artist saying like I've said everything I need to say. I don't know. I like that. Where it's like,
yeah, but I'm selfish.
Yeah, well, I don't give a shit about your stupid feelings.
I want more.
I know, me too. Well, here's the thing. So I don't know if Tarantino has returned to this, but like this was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. He was doing an interview and where he first mentioned that he wants to end at 10. And he goes, but I might fudge it a little bit. Like I might do like Kill Bill 3 and just say that whole trilogy is just one movie, because technically he shot Kill Bill 1 and 2 to be one movie.
Did he?
Yeah. So he was talking about kind of like fudging the 10.
It's like volume 2, volume 3. Yeah. So what would he be at right now if everything is just one?
I guess he would be at 9.
Kill Bill's 1 and 2. Oh, really? He would be at 9. Kill Bill 1 and 2, Jackie Brown, Death Proof, Glorious Bastards, Django, Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. What am I missing?
Not sure.
I don't know. It'll come to me.
But anyway, so he was kind of he's like, oh, but then like Death Proof, that was more of a double feature that wasn't really fully me. So he's kind of trying to find ways to kind of squeeze a few more movies while still adhering to a 10 movie rule.
I don't think anyone ever, like, you see this all the time with like rappers. Like, he retired. Like, oh really? He's gonna be out of the album in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like the only people who can't do that is like athletes because their body physically can't do it.
Yeah.
Like he can't come back in 7 years and say, like, I'm gonna play quarterback for the New York Giants. Like you can't do that.
Well, or he could just do what Kiss does, dude. So my friend Chopper, quiet, buddy. My friend pointed out to me that Kiss, the band Kiss, has spent almost more time on reunion tours than actually just being a normal band.
Money it's a lot of money.
Because let's see, Kiss was founded in the early 70s, so like 71, 72, and then I think in the early 90s was when they went on their first farewell tour. So that's 20 years of them just being like a straightforward band for 20 years. Yeah. The early 90s, so that's like 30 years of them going on like farewell tours.
Yeah, that's great, dude. Kiss, I never really liked Kiss, like, but then I really loved Detroit Rock City, and I loved how they used it in Stranger Things. Yeah, it was like probably my favorite scene of the most recent season. My fiance is like a huge Stranger Things fan, and I always liked it. I loved the first season. Second season I thought was kind of trash. Yeah. So they did a little better with third and fourth. Like it's good. Like I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. I'm glad they're finishing it. Like we were talking about, shows is kind of going stale. Yeah. Because it's a cash cow. So just keep making it. But they use that song really, really good in like the first or second episode. And then I really like Strutter. Yeah, Strutter. Yeah, it's a good one. But what's like a lot of these bands, I feel like growing up, I didn't like them because I don't like their really popular songs. That's all I'd hear. Like Kiss is what? I wanna rock and roll. Like that song stinks.
I love that song.
That song stinks, dude.
It's one of those songs where it's like it is like inherently a dumb song, but it's also like, but dude, if you're at a party and everyone's drinking and that song comes on, it's like you're gonna be singing along with that song. You know you are.
I don't know, dude. I think that song kind of stinks.
I do because you've got a cold, dead, black heart.
No, it's not true. I just said I like other Kiss songs. Like same, but even goes with one of my favorite bands, Iron Maiden. Like I don't like Run to the Hills. Yeah. I don't like Number of the Beast. Yeah. I don't think those are good songs. I do love what's like their other like their like
the Trooper.
The Trooper, yeah, Trooper's amazing.
That's cool, yeah.
One of the best. That's one of the best opening riffs in metal. But yeah, so I think that's why it's like, oh, that's Kiss. I don't really like them, but yeah, Strutter rules. Detroit Rock City rules. Yeah, I don't know. They've grown on me a little.
Yeah,
isn't Gene Simmons? Isn't he like a big Republican?
No, but Ace Frehley is a big.
He's
a guitarist. He's a big Trump supporter.
Oh, see, I love that with bands. Do you remember? This is such a deep cut, but do you remember which of the Ramones is like a huge Republican?
I don't know.
I don't because it's not John.
Joey or Dee Dee?
No, it's not Joey. Joey's the lead singer.
Yeah,
it's not him. I don't know if is Frankie one of them.
I don't remember.
But it's like, dude, they were getting inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's like, and God bless our President George Bush.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Like that'd be super weird if like. I think Bush was like very unpopular at this time too. Yeah. It was like everyone was kind of just like, dude, this guy sucks. And like God, I don't know why I thought of that, but I think a lot of bands end up splitting and going like very disparate paths.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, like what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, man. So Kiss. Star Wars, and Fire.
That's right. That's good. That's a good summary, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Sexual Revolution. That was like the
Sexual Revolution. Yeah.
Next time you have to get Anna's autograph for me.
Yeah, I'll get her to sign my cleavage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I see you, like, I'll have you bump up against me when like the ink is still wet.
Like a pick.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I'm glad that Kiss is still that they've reunited for the 19th time. So
thank God, because I thought they'd really be retired there. How old is Kiss?
I know that the band has been around for like 50 years now.
So they're like in their 70s, if not later.
I like how I just read an article about this. How for grunge, how Kiss wore makeup throughout the 70s, and in the early 80s they took the makeup off, and they're all ugly, so everyone's just like, no, put the makeup back on. So
yeah, that's good. Wait, what's grunge?
Grunge.com, the publication, one of the publications I write for. So
you want to plug them?
No, not really.
Okay, then on that note,
I do like to plug a publication that I do think is producing high quality work. That is the Reckless Muse blog.
Nah, they suck. Sucks.
The movie reviewer that they have on there just fucking blows.
No, he's actually a good part of it. You should definitely just read him and his short stories. I have another short story for it. I'm gonna publish on there soon.
Yeah. Well, if you're check it out. We got some great stuff on there. We've got Ben's reviews. He's got some short stories. We've got some culture commentary. And if you would like to write for the Reckless Muse, the link will also be in the description on Spotify and YouTube. So check it out, guys.
You have to sleep with one of us.
Yeah, that's the only way, really, that you'll be able to get in. So
gender doesn't matter.
Yeah. So yeah, Reckless Muse.
This is the sexual revolution. Still going strong.
Oh, the Reckless Sex Cast.
The Reckless Sex Cast. The Reckless Fuck Cast.
All right, Benjamin.
All right.
Oh, hey, real quick, want to point out the bag of cobras thing?
Oh yeah, my nickname is Ben Bag of Cobras D'Alessio. Great meme. It was like what political, like, where are you in the political spectrum? That had a picture of, I guess you'd say, South Asian man. Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, one of those probably. Yeah. Just like unraveling a bag of cobras, and it says man leashes bag of cobras to fight bureaucracy. It's like, yes, that's my politics.
I tagged you on that. That's a good political stance to take.
That is a great. I was like, bag of cobras is such a great term.
Is unleashing it like in a state capital or whatever.
It's probably some like small city council somewhere in the 38th largest city in India, and some guy just fed up. He didn't get the variance he wanted, so he brings in a bag of cobras.
I think that would be a good political party that we should start.
Yeah, the Cobra Party. Like, I mean, badass. Right. It's like, wait, what do you guys stand for? Cobras, snakes. So, what are you going to do about the climate crisis? Cobras. Homeless. Cobras actually would work there.
Not quite related. Theo Von was talking about how he always has these crazy stories growing up in the super poor area in Louisiana.
Cajun country,
yeah, and he's talking about how whenever it was like one of the extremely rare times that it started to snow. Mm-hmm. Oh no, sorry, I don't think it was. It might just be like a hurricane. I don't know, some crazy stormy weather. And so. In Louisiana, and so one of the he's like, we had this neighbor down the street, and he pulled out his gun, he started shooting at the tornado, and he's like, fuck this. Fuck this. He started calling started yelling racial slurs at the hurricane. Fuck this.
God damn it, Felix, go back inside. Yeah, that's right. Good. I was living in Louisiana when it snowed for the first time in a decade. Like, literally, it was 2008 to 2018. I was there in 2018, and it was just bedlam. Just people lost. And it snowed like a half an inch or something, and just people lost their minds. Like, ambulances going up and down the streets and stuff. Just no idea how to handle it.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it.
Yep.
Well, stay reckless, Benjamin.
Yep, stay reckless, Joe. Fight the crits.